The film begins with a big fight between two groups of people. One is the Qing Dynasty soldiers, and the other is a rebel group called the Divine Truth Cult. In this battle, there's this guy named Yang Luchan, but they call him the Freak because he's got a little horn on his forehead and acts a bit strange. But hey, he's really strong and manages to beat up a bunch of the government soldiers. Now, there's this soldier named Nan who sees what Luchan can do. Nan tries to mess with Luchan by hitting his horn, hoping to make him mad so he'll fight even crazier. Unfortunately, it works a bit too well. Luchan gets all worked up and starts attacking everyone like a maniac. But that takes a toll on him, and he gets super tired and passes out. They have to take him back to camp so he can rest. Before all this, Luchan came from a rich family, but his dad wasn't very nice to him. Only his mom, Yang, actually cared about him. One day, he's just trying to go to the market to buy some snacks and watch a show. But then this kid comes along and steals his snacks, causing some trouble. Sadly, he had trouble dealing with a bigger boy who picked on him. But then, Hen managed to stand up and defeat the bully by using his secret strength. Right then, there's this martial arts performer named Lao Zhao who was doing his tricks. He sees how awesome Luchan is and thinks he could be really good at Kung Fu. So, Lao Zhao wants to teach him some cool moves. On the other hand, while all this was happening, Yang had to confront her husband who was accused of stealing money. But in reality, Yang was just saving up for their future and Luchan. Her husband didn't understand that, and because of this mix-up, she got kicked out of their house and left outside in the cold during winter. When Luchan heard about this, he felt really sad. He found his mom sitting cold under a tree, and he started crying. Just then, Lao Zhao, who had been following Luchan, approached them. He told Yang about Luchan's amazing natural talent for Kung Fu, and he's got these horns on his head that they call 3 blossoms on the crown. Hearing this made Yang really happy. Before she passed away, she told Luchan to keep learning martial arts so he could help others. After Yang passed away, Luchan was taken in by Lao Zhao, who turned out to be the leader of the Divine Truth Cult. He'd been pretending to be a street performer all along. Fast forwarding to the present, Luchan is super tired after using up all his energy in the fight. They take him to the camp, and Master Dong takes care of him. There, Dong mentions that if Luchan keeps pushing himself without control, he could even lose his life. So he suggests that Luchan should learn Chen-style Kung Fu in Chen Village to balance his energy. Some people at the camp don't take this seriously and laugh it off. But Luchan thinks it's a good idea and can't stop thinking about it, even losing sleep over it. Then things get chaotic at the camp at night. The enemy soldiers attack, killing Divine Truth cult members and burning buildings. Fortunately, Luchan survives, but Dong isn't as lucky. He dies in the attack. Before he goes, Dong tells Luchan to go to Chen Village and learn from Master Chen Chongqing. Soon after, Luchan sets off on a journey to Chen Village. After days of traveling, he finally arrives, but the villagers aren't too welcoming, especially when Luchan says he wants to learn Chen Kung Fu. They say they don't teach outsiders. While Luchan tries to explain, he gets accidentally hit by a steam engine driven by Fang Zijing and his fiancée, Chen Yunyang. Shortly after, Yunyang quickly rushes down to check on Luchan, offering her help if he needs any. As the night came, Zai Ying and Yunyang threw a party with the village leaders. They were celebrating Zijing's accomplishments after coming back from studying in the West. He's been put in charge of a big project to build a railway in Chen Village. This railway will help folks move sugar and stuff from outside the village, and they'll trade their local herbs for those goods. Zijing even set up electric lights to impress everyone at the party. He talked about how Western technology could make their future better. But, oh no, there was a short circuit and the lights went out. The village elders were quite disappointed about the whole thing. The next day, Luchan headed over to Yunyang's drugstore. He wanted to find out where Chongqing was and share his wish to learn Kung Fu. But Yunyang wasn't so eager to spill the beans. She sort of hinted that he should go to Wuliang Mountain. Then, Luchan didn't waste any time and hurried over there. But guess what? No Kung Fu master was there. Confused, he went back to see Yunyang. This time, Yu Niang was still avoiding giving away Chongqing's location. There was a rule in the village that they didn't teach outsiders kung fu. At that time, Lu Chan got pretty mad hearing this and even tried to fight Yu Niang. But, whoops, she was much better at fighting than him, so he didn't stand a chance. After the fight, Lu Chan was hurt. He got help from a villager, who he didn't know was actually Chongqing, the kung fu master he was searching for. There, Chongqing checked him out and figured out that Lu Chan got hurt because he let his anger control him in fights, which drained all his energy. Lu Chan explained he wanted to learn Chen Kung Fu to manage his anger and strength in battles. At the same time, Zijing was feeling really down. The villagers refused to cooperate with his railroad plan. Even though he was related to Grandmaster Chen's family and grew up in the village, they still treated him like an outsider. He couldn't learn Kung Fu from the Chens, even though he wanted to help improve the villagers' lives after studying in the West, but they just wouldn't accept him. Frustrated, Zijing compared himself to Yu Niang, who's loved by everyone in the village because she's the Grandmaster's daughter, and this disappointment led him to break off his engagement with Yu Niang. A few days later, curious about Yu Niang's martial arts skills, Lu Chan challenged her to another fight, but he lost again, and she kicked him out of the village. On another note, Zijing, who had left the village after his railroad project failed, was seen in a meeting with his company's shareholders. He asked Claire Hefro, a representative from an East India trading company, for help dealing with the project's setbacks in Chen Village. At the same time, Lu Chan was determined to learn Chen Kung Fu, but whenever he looked for the Grandmaster, the villagers would step in and defeat him in fights. One day, he bumped into Chongqing again, who was always nice to him. At that time, the middle-aged guy gave Lu Chan a tip to learn by copying the moves of those who fight against him. Following Chongqing's advice, Lu Chan started annoying the villagers to provoke fights and learn from their moves. He kept doing this until he eventually fought a salesman and won. The villagers were pretty impressed by his kung fu skills, but after the fight, Lu Chan got so tired he fainted. A bit later, Claire and Zijing came back to Chen Village with a huge steam engine called Troy. They wanted to use it for building a railroad there. At that time, Yu Niang tried to stop Zijing and begged him not to harm the village. Turns out, Claire planned to keep Zijing in charge of the project, especially if he could sort things out with Yu Niang due to their history together. Meanwhile, Yu Niang hurried to the village council of elders to let them know about Zijing's fancy steam vehicle arriving. But the elders didn't want to do anything without Grandmaster Chen's say-so. Back at Chongqing's place, Lu Chan woke up from passing out. There, Chongqing filled him in on the Troy machine that could wreck the village. He suggested Lu Chan destroy it so he could become a hero, save Chen Village, and win the villagers' trust to learn Chen Kung Fu. During the night, while checking out the Troy engine, Yu Niang saw Zijing expressing his feelings to Claire. This just fueled her determination to stop Zijing's railroad project. She pretended to casually greet them, then sneaked the operation book of the Troy machine. When she got back to the village, she asked the guards at the gate to help her translate the book. After a while, Lu Chan snuck into the Troy engine secretly, aiming to mess up the steam engine. He fought off a bunch of guards and ran out of the engine room, but he struggled to shut down the steam engine because he didn't really know how it worked. But guess what? Yu Niang also snuck into the machine with the same plan. They teamed up and managed to disable all of Troy's systems. At that very moment, a soldier who got knocked out by Lu Chan woke up and triggered an emergency alarm. Zijing and Claire caught wind of what Lu Chan and Yu Niang were up to. Zijing warned Yu Niang that he considered her an enemy if she wrecked the Troy machine. But she ignored his warning and blew up the machine, causing a huge explosion. Unfortunately, Claire got seriously hurt and eventually died in Zijing's arms, devastated by the loss of his loved one. Zijing swore to take revenge by destroying Chen Village. Meanwhile, Lu Chan and Yu Niang survived the explosion from the Troy machine and went back to the village. They had to confront Chongqing and the village elders. This is when Lu Chan found out that Chongqing had been the Kung Fu Grandmaster he was searching for all along. Chongqing admitted he had planned to use Lu Chan to destroy the Troy machine so the villagers wouldn't be directly involved. But since Yu Niang got involved and caused the destruction too, it was likely the Imperial army would attack. So they needed to get ready to face the enemy. The next day, the Imperial troops arrived in Chen village. The villagers got ready for a fight under Chongqing's command. He told them not to hurt the enemies, just to drive them away. Both Yu Niang and Lu Chan joined in to help the villagers against the soldiers. Lu Chan used the moves he learned from the villagers to easily defeat his opponents, but while he was protecting Yu Niang, he got hurt by an enemy weapon. Thankfully, the other villagers shielded Lu Chan and scared off the Imperial soldiers, making them leave the village. Turning to Lu Chan, who was badly hurt, he was taken to the village council of Elders' place. They were talking about what to do with Lu Chan for supposedly stealing the Chen Kung Fu style. However, Yu Niang didn't agree with their decision. She defended Lu Chan, saying he didn't steal the Kung Fu. He learned it openly by challenging the villagers. Sadly, the elders still stuck with the rule that outsiders couldn't learn Chen Kung Fu. So, Yu Niang offered to marry Lu Chan, which would make him a villager and able to learn the Kung Fu. At the end of the film, Lu Chan and Yu Niang's wedding was shown. It was a lively celebration in the village, and everyone seemed to be having a good time. On the other side, two mysterious folks tried to get into Chen village, but the villagers guarding the border stopped them. Now these two mysterious people were getting ready for a fight. The film ends. The moral lesson from the film is if you want to learn Kung Fu and marry the girl, just blow up a steam engine and defeat an army of soldiers.